Welcome to the Nurse's View, where nurses rise, voices lead, and possibilities expand beyond the bedside. Featuring your hosts, Bina Bendale, Emily Knife, Viola Pierce, and Charisse Williams. This is your moment to see nursing differently.
Welcome everybody to the Nurse's View. Bina here, Charisse and Dr. Viola here today. Emily, again, is just a little under the weather, or she had another engagement, which is totally understandable. We are going to be recording live at the Modern Nurse Fest with Dr. Viola and I in about a week or two, so we will be catching her there. So today, what we're really going to be talking about is how clients sometimes just don't want to do the work. That's really what we like, how we're all three of us were just talking about how sometimes they have this idea. Clients are like, they're motivated, they do this, they come up, but then when they actually need to show up for actually doing the work, they just go short. And I don't understand why or what the shift is, but I do want to hear you guys to hear this. In 2026, if you don't make these quick actions, and if you don't make these quick decisions or choices, whichever word language you want to do, dude, you got y'all, like that shit's gonna leave. You're gonna end up charging more, gonna end up paying more. You're gonna end up regretting certain things because in 2026, with the year of the year of the horse, you just have to make these decisions and just move.
Yeah. And let me just say this, indecision is to your point, Bina, indecision is costly. It is very expensive. Because had you just made the decision, let's say, for instance, it's an event, Nurse Fest, or whatever event, Viola, you have an event coming up, whatever is going on, I have an event coming up. Bottom line is make the decision, move on this, commit to the decision, and then allow all the stuff you can figure out the rest of the stuff later. But if you're waiting, and this, I oftentimes see this, and Bina, we were just talking about this off camera, it's like you're trying to line up all the pieces, and then here's what happens. You miss out on the opportunity. Either it's sold out, or now, again, going back to indecision is expensive. Now, maybe it was free event, now it's a paid event, or maybe it was early bird and now it's regular pricing, or whatever the case may be. Yeah. And again, it can be expensive. Now, here's the thing. Just because you missed the boat on the first boat, that don't mean still don't go. It just means, hey, listen, you got to pay a little bit more this time. Maybe, and next time get in, like really pull the trigger. Yeah. But because it's never going to be, everything is not going to always, you're not going to know all the answers to everything on the front end. But if you feel that pull, and if you're like, okay, I really need to be there, and maybe you don't know why you need to be there, but you just know that you need to be there, book the ticket, figure out the flights later, figure out the kids later, figure out all that stuff later. Because one thing I know about us, when we want to do something, we make it happen, period.
But I think that's also the same thing when we're talking about clients. Like when people are trying to find clients, it's also, I'll talk to them later, or I'll reach them later, or I don't want to sound so salesy. Like I don't want to push them. And I'm just like,
but this is the deal though. Yeah. This is the deal. And I think is the thing that really people don't understand is that what you're doing is you're causing them to go to another person who may not be as ethical as you are, who is not as good as you are. Yeah. You have to help them make an informed decision. And if you don't, and it's not salesy. Sales is a service. So I tell the story about my brother. My brother came to me one day and he had a heart attack, right? And so he was supposed to have a cath. And so the physician calls me and he was like, he needs to have a cath. He also, if he does, he's going to have a CABG. For those layman people, it's coronary artery bypass graft. And so I said, okay, that's what we'll do. Then my brother gets on the phone and we're not going to do that. And I said, why? And it was because he had a little dip in his kidney function. And I said, if we don't do this, then your heart suffers.
Yeah.
Do you want to do this, or do you want your kidneys to suffer? Because you can get another kidney, okay? But a heart is a little bit harder to come by, okay? And once he understood that, then it was fine. I think one of the things, and I used to say this all the time, because as an ER nurse, I didn't have to call you into the emergency department. Like you just came there.
Exactly.
But the reality is that I sold them on medications all day long.
You have to just have a job.
And
or procedures.
You
meds, procedures, whatever. Yeah.
Because I think it's at that point, I think what nurses need to hear on this, which is great, is that because we're the authoritarians in that world, like we're the experts in that world. Like, we're not going in saying, hey, you need to do this, whatever it is. People believe us because we're the experts in that role.
Right.
And if people utilize that in sales or utilize that in their business in that same mindset, it's like you're a specialist. You're not a generalist. You're a specialist. What you do in your business is a specialty. And that is why it's not salesy. When people come to me, they go, Bina, that sounds salesy if I'm going to reach this person 2 or 3 times. It's like, you need to help them make the choice. You also need to show them that you're really going to show up.
Yeah,
like
right.
It's not salesy if I'm going to call this person 2 or 3 times, because actually some people, I actually would appreciate it. And then yes, there are some people that, okay, y'all, I don't want this and I don't want it. But at the same time though, in nurse coaching or in coaching in general, you have to show that persistency, just like with your brother, how like you need the cabbage. This is what you need. This other detail, I understand your kidney functions are not the best, but the better option is to do this first, because that will actually support your kidneys eventually.
But I think if nurses knew the statistics, right? So 25% of the people that you're going to reach out to, 25% are going to say an absolute yes. Yeah, and then there's going to be 35% that it's not going to be a right fit and they're not going to want it. And then there's the 40% out there. That 40% is the maybes. That's where your money is, right? And then the yeses. So once you understand that if I make 9 phone calls, or if I make 10 phone calls, typically at the beginning, I may close 1. Okay. Then you understand that it is okay. Getting 9 no's just get you closer to the yes. Yeah. So stop being afraid of the no's. I know sometimes it just damages your confidence sometimes, right? Yeah. But the reality is that once you understand what your product brings, because for me, once I helped a client cross the 6-figure mark, it was game on. I was like, this program works. I know for a fact that it works. And so I will get on the phone, and one of my VAs, because she reviewed my call, she was like, where do you get your confidence from? I get my confidence because my program works.
Exactly. Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what my confidence
proven. It's a proven model. Yeah.
But Viola, and I love that. And for those that are listening that are like, okay, I'm not there yet. I'm just starting. Here's the thing. You absolutely have to be sold on who you are and what you can offer, even if you don't have the evidence of it yet. Because you're right. It's easy to have the confidence when you have the proof, right? Mm-hmm. But again, for those, I'm just really speaking to those who are just starting. Again, I don't have any proof. And the reality of it is, you probably do have the proof. You may not. I'm in the holistic health coaching space, right? In the functional medicine space. You may, even if you're just starting, you may not have had any paid clients yet, but I guarantee you've done some work on yourself and it worked. You've helped your mom and your cousin, your friend, your colleague, and it worked. So you do have proof. You just maybe never charged for it. Okay. But you have the proof. You have the evidence. So bring that into the conversation. Bring your confidence in that and who you have helped, even if it's just you. Bring that into the conversation, because now, energy is transferable. If you show up and you're wobbly, and I always say, if you're leaking, and it's not in what you say, but it's in how you say it. If you're leaking, it's going to come across, and they're going to say no, and they may not be able to articulate why they're saying no, but it's because you're not confident. So when you own it and own what you can bring to the table and come to the table with that level of confidence, you'll get more yeses just in that shift alone. And then you'll start to build the actual evidence. And now you have, the confidence that you brought, but then now you have all of the extra testimonials that of course boost your confidence. But don't think that you have to, or don't think you're going to wait to get the confidence, because confidence comes from doing. So you just got to do it.
Say that one more time.
Confidence comes from doing. Yeah. You can't just sit back and hope it's going to show up. It doesn't. You'll be sitting forever.
It doesn't show up.
You'll be sitting forever.
It doesn't show up. And I think that's like the big thing where I'm hearing this a lot of the times. I've had multiple clients come up in my program or different things, and people or not in my program, and people will ask me like advice, right? And the number one thing I always tell people is that the minute you have a clear offer, you know what you're doing, you're confident in your ability, it's all a numbers game after that. Like you have to outreach. Like, I don't care what it is, what you do. if you don't outreach like anywhere, and some people ask me how many outreach people I did. I do still outreach anywhere from 200 to 300 a week because it's a numbers game, whether that's on my B2B business side, whether that's in speaking side, or whether that's on my coaching world. But I think a lot of people really like with Viola, what you were stating is that there's only 25% that's gonna say yes like right away.
Right.
Yeah.
They're your instant yeses. And your instant yeses are the ones that most likely have been following you silently. They've been silently following you. They haven't liked your post. They haven't comes in. So people are like, oh, but they haven't liked my post. Girlfriend, they don't fucking like your shit. Though the silent ones don't comment because they're observing. They're like, is this real? Is this girl real? Maybe she's fake. Maybe she's bullshitting. They're the ones that are there. And I've gotten onto so many calls. And a lot of my CNCA clients now, they've came on my calls and they go, I already know I'm going to work with you. And here's my money. And I'm like, you don't want to hear what I have to say? They go, nope. I already know you're proven and I've been following you. I'm like, for how long? And they're like 6 months, 7 months. And I'm like, really? So I think again, when they're on social media, a lot of people are so fixated on the likes and comments and yada yadas. And it's those ones that come to you that are yeses. And I love what Viola said. It's the 45% of maybes. 100%. That is where your money is. Because those are where the follow-ups come in. That is when you have to invite them. People forget about invitations nowadays. Yeah. I always say this, fast 50. Call people up, send them a message, voice them, video them, personally invite them to, whether it's a live event. Dr. I know you have a live event coming up. I know, Charisse, you have a live event coming up. I do workshops. I do bi-weekly workshops right now. Invite them to it. Right. People like to be invited.
I think I have to give you your props, Bina, on this because you are the follow-up queen. Like you will follow up, and I love that. Like I've learned so much. Like this one girl, she did the same thing that you did. She got a bunch of money out of me, and I never I never participated in the program. Like she followed up with me so good, I was like, okay, I'll give you my money, okay? But she was just that good, right? Yeah. And so you have to be good at the follow-up in order for it to work out for you. But I'm absolutely. And when you don't, then you're leaving them out there to hang.
Yeah.
And you don't have the ability to be able to. People are like, my team is doing this, you got to follow up with them even, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like I'm on top of my team all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just, it has to work or it has to work. But I have speed about me too. I'm like, because normally I send my PowerPoints to this guy on Fiverr. He gives me a 24-hour turnaround. Okay. And he's my branding is on point and so on and so forth. So one of my VAs, she's phenomenal at graphics. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to give this to you. I'm going to give you the money instead of giving him the money. Okay. I said, but you got to get this back to me. So she did 4 slides. I said, listen, you got to get them slides out. Okay.
Right. You got to push them. You have to push them. 100%.
But this is where our leadership comes into play, right? Because and I know a lot of people sometimes they're like, I don't know if I resonate with the word CEO. Listen, you are the CEO of your business. And part of being I know, right? Part of being a CEO of your business is you have to lead your ship. That's what leadership is. You have to lead this is your ship, right? Yeah. And so I wanted to just say one thing that Dr. Viola mentioned a second ago. One thing I always say is fortune is in the follow-up. The fortune, I'll write that down. The fortune is in the follow-up. It is. And here's the thing. And this is where I find that people fall through the cracks. You have your ready right now people. That's what I like to call them. The ones they've been following, they show up to the call ready. They're like, here's my card. So you got your ready right now. Again, 25%. Okay. The other 45, 50%, they're the not yet people, but you don't forget about them. You put them, what I like to say is you put them in your incubator. You think about, and I'm not an L&D nurse. I was an ICU nurse, critical care my whole time, but everyone knows what an incubator is for. To warm the baby, to keep the baby warm, to nurture it, the whole nine. So keep them in your incubator. Don't just be like, oh, she said no, he said no, moving on. No, ma'am. You either put him in your Facebook group if you have one, put him on your email list. Everybody should have one of those. I don't care if it has one person right now. That's the second person. You have to start someplace.
Yeah. And for a lot of new coaches that are out there, this is where systems is key.
Yes.
Okay. So I think this is where a lot of systems are. So I know we're talking a very high level conversation right now. So I do want to slow this down a little bit for people who are just starting out. When you are starting out a business and you don't have these systems, you do need to hire a coach, because I just can't. Like there's no YouTube videos on systems. There are, but you got to see what works for you. And when we're talking about incubators, when we're talking about follow-ups, there is a system in place that is proven that does work. So if you want to have a profitable business, regardless of who you work with, you need to have systems in place in order for it to build. That is how you build a scalable business.
Yeah. Otherwise, it'll be the bottleneck.
Yeah, and then it won't bottleneck, because then you can know where it comes up. So the number one thing, even as you are doing these follow-ups, I think the other problem I've also noticed is the visibility, or the lack of visibility. A lot of people just don't want, I think when you're first new, when you're starting out, you got your LLC, you got your offer, you hired a coach, and you're like, yes, woohoo, I'm moving along. I think another main big thing is visibility.
Absolutely. Because otherwise you're the world's best kept secret.
You're just in a graveyard. Like, I just tell people, like, you're in a graveyard.
One of my coaches said this one time. He said that success is not a secret, it's a system.
It is.
And when he said that, and so I knew that I was going to hire him. And this is the reality, is that we have all these degrees as nurses, and we all these amazing things. And the deal is that this dude did not have a degree at all. Not one. He was a multimillionaire. Okay. And it was because he was always visible. He was always talking about business.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, you have to be visible. And the reality is that if you listen to Alex Hormozy, you listen to Cody Sanchez, you listen to Gary Vaynerchuk, right? They put out content, right?
Especially Gary V.
Right.
Everywhere.
The reality is that you have got to break the noise. And in order for you to be able to break the noise, like we used to do one video a day and then whatever. Now we're doing 3 videos a day. Now I know that I'm going to have to increase that. Like I don't have a choice. I'm going to have to increase that in order to increase the visibility, in order for me to be able to attract the ideal client at the end of the day. Yeah. And like you said, the more that you stay in that lane, they see that you are consistent.
Consistency wins.
Because the deal is that I've seen people just ghost. I've been like, where they at?
Oh my God, it's so true.
And that's one of the fastest ways to break trust. You know about building the know and trust factor. You disappear and they're like, oh, is this person even legit? Like,
or the best one thing I've heard people, they're like, I had to take a hiatus off social media for a while because of something else. I get that. I'm all about work-life balance. Okay. I got 3 little kids at home, and I'm a full-time CEO of 3 different companies. Like, my shit's really, I'm busy.
Got some shit going on.
But here's a little trick that people forget. Then schedule the goddamn posts.
Right.
Like, schedule the shit out.
Either that or hire someone.
Schedule
right?
it. Because you guys, like, when people it breaks the algorithm, it breaks the thing, but also it's just like, at least in my world, it's just more of, I have really good boundaries. Like, I'm really strict with my boundaries. And when I'm really strict with my boundaries, that means I schedule things way more, so that way people, it's not an illusion. This is not negative. This is reality. This is business online. I want people to hear that. Oh, this has taken over my life. No, it does not. No, because your business is online. Like, I can't not show up to work. Like, I think people realize.
You could, but there's going to be ramifications.
A lot of nurses would challenge me a little bit. And they go, when I take a month off, I'm off work and I'm doing things. Great. But you also are not in a business. You are working for somebody.
And this goes back to systems. And it goes back to systems, Bina.
Yeah.
Again, and I just want to say this, because systems doesn't mean necessarily a whole big complex. In fact, the simpler it is, the better. So either schedule your posts, there's one, or get someone else to do it. And that doesn't cost a whole lot. No, it doesn't. It's
you can internationally for $5 to $10 an hour.
Period.
And get your stuff
scheduled for a month.
Yeah.
For $10. No, I'm being a bit facetious, but for very inexpensive,
Yes.
so that you stay visible.
Right.
Don't break
Visibility
that
is key.
trust.
And I
Yeah.
think that's like the big misconception around in coaches, especially with nurses right now. What I've seen, they're like, oh, I'm just tired of posting or I'm over posting. I was like, you can't really over post.
Overpost.
What do you
That doesn't
over
exist. That
posting?
doesn't exist.
Like, I don't think you guys realize.
No
I'm
such
like,
thing.
it's a consistency thing. And what I've also noticed for a lot of newer coaches, not necessarily the one that has done the work, where I've noticed is that if you are inconsistent with visibility, and it's just like I do 30-day challenges with my group, everybody has to do a live every day or something just to get them, it's habit stacking because this is a brand new, like it's a habit new thing for them, correct? I said, but you guys, with that, there's always some sort of inconsistency in your real life. Like it correlates, like what you are doing in your business. So the number one thing I tell people is business, if you want to go into true entrepreneurship, you better be ready to do some fucking shadow work because that shit is going to screw your head up.
Rock your world.
Because it is the number one thing. There's two reasons I think that people don't do what they're supposed to do. Number one is that they don't believe in it. Number one, because Oprah said this, she says, you don't get what you want, you get what you believe. Okay. Correct. Number two is that they're fearful. Yes. And they don't, and however you mask it up, however you do whatever you want to do, they're fearful of whatever. The big monster in the closet. And I number one, when I first started, like 100%. I would never say anything about the hospital. Like I would never come out. And now I'm like, listen, that COO told me that he wanted to keep patients in the hospital. Okay. So you know what that means? That means that nurses are going to be overworked. You know what that means? That patients are going to be sick. You know what that means? That means that you need to get in there and be the consultant for that hospital because it's not going to work. It's going to break the system. Yeah. So once I started figuring out that I'm out the gate now.
Yeah. I think that's also a big thing, Dr. Viola, is that people's voice. I think a lot in nursing in general, at bedside, our voices are taken away.
Absolutely.
Our voices were taken away.
Facts. Ooh, that's so good.
So when our voice is taken away because we were told not to do something, how many nurses right now are scared to state that a wrongdoing has done? Because guess what? The person who generally speaks up is the one that gets fired. Not the one that does the wrong shit. It's the one that speaks up, or the black sheep or whatever you want to call it. They're the ones that generally are the ones that gets in trouble, correct? So a lot of the times they silence you and it's it's a silencer. So yes, when you're doing an entrepreneurship and you're learning your voice, there's a whole lot of deprogramming that needs to occur because you're still scared from these people that have silenced you for however many years you were at bedside, and you still think that they're going to get you or come after you.
And I think the other thing too, Bina, is yes, I think fear plays a part in it, no doubt. But also it's the indoctrination that you have to get approval first. Nurses, we can't do anything unless we have a doctor's order. For the most part.
You need permission.
Right.
You don't
and
need
so,
permission.
But we've been so indoctrinated for 10, 20, 30, however long you've been a nurse. And so because you're waiting on that permission, you bring that same mentality and that same behavior into entrepreneurship. And you're waiting. It's you get to give yourself permission. You are the permission.
But that's where a lot of these nurse coaches, a lot of coaches are in general in the healthcare field, specifically nurses. I think that's what their biggest that's where the big hard shift is. Yeah. I think that's where they are waiting for that permission. They're waiting for that approval. They're waiting for that gratification or that instant gratification. Me being an ER nurse, it's instant gratification. You go to 5 places, y'all. That's it. There's 5 different places you go. Surgery, trauma, surgery, morgue, the floor, home, or the ER border. That's it. Yeah. That's all you do. And so a lot of these instant gratifications, they're dopamine hits. So when you're doing these dopamine hits and now you got to create your own dopamine, it's really challenging. It's really challenging. So that's when they come up. I have to remind my clients, you guys thrive in the hospital on dopamine hits. Yeah. So you have to co-create your dopamine hits. That means your non-negotiables have to be 10 times harder because that is your dopamine hit.
Yeah. And one of the things that I think is A big thing. And listen, I drank the Kool-Aid, swallowed the water. Okay, it was what it was. Is that we think that we need to get another degree.
Oh my
Okay.
God, please. Oh Lord, please.
The
Go there.
only the only thing I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say this as
Say it
loud as I can say this.
for the people in the back.
Another degree is not necessary. That's
No.
the only thing that my doctoral degree gave me was discipline.
Yeah.
Because my son would, when your papers are due on Wednesday night, my son would always come in because he just wanted to talk to me, and I was like, "Listen, little boy, okay, I can't
You
talk to
can't
you
talk
right
right now. I have to
I
finish
got to
this.
get this paper in by 11:59, okay?"
Yeah.
And he would still do it, and so I had to learn to get up. So right now, I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I actually get up at my alarm is set at 3:42.
Jesus.
And listen, my grandson said last night, he was like, 3:42. What's happening at 3:42? And I said, I'm getting up. And he said, you're gonna wake me up. I said, I get up at 3:42 every morning. He was like, what? Why? And I was like, before you get up and start talking to me, I done got half my work done. Okay.
Yeah.
So I had to learn that. And so I now get up I allowed for 2 cycles of the hitting the snooze button at 18 minutes. And then at 4 o'clock, I am absolutely out of that bed, getting done what I need to get done. Because if I don't, during the daytime, people be pulling at me. Like I told the guy, because they're in here doing my heat. And I was like, listen, I'm going to be on this podcast, okay? I said, I ain't going to be able to talk to y'all, okay? You can open that door, come back, but I ain't going to be able to talk to y'all, okay? Because they've been pulling at you.
I like this because there's two things that I want to, what I want to rephrase what you stated. One, holding yourself accountable for opening up whatever time you choose to wake up. Wake up. I'm not a morning. You're not going to wake me up past 7 o'clock. Don't even talk to me. Don't. I'm a nasty bitch. Like, I'm not going to, my kids know it too. They go, don't wake that bear up. Like, they all know it. Now they're even at a level, they're like, mommy's asleep. We'll just go downstairs and get some cereal. It's not 7 o'clock yet.
It's not safe to wake her up.
Because it's like I know myself. Like, I know that. Okay. My husband knows that. Everyone knows that. 7 o'clock, past 7 o'clock, fair game. So it's holding yourself accountable with whatever time you need to wake up. Hold yourself accountable. But the other thing that you stated that I want to go back to is don't get a second. Getting another degree, thinking that you need another degree. I think we've talked about this once before in a previous podcast on how chasing letters. One thing I want to tell people, don't chase the letters because that takes away your money. If you chase a dream, that actually gives you money.
Right.
For sure.
Like, I have my master's, and I think I've told you guys this once before, is that I was 6 months away from my DNP. And I don't want to write my dissertation. I was like, fuck this shit. I don't want to write this. I did not want to write it. I got to that level and I'm like, are you kidding me? I need to rewrite this. And I was like, no, I'm good. And I remember everyone's like, but you're so close. You're only 6 months away. And I said, but I'm not going to make any more money. And I'm going to end up giving you guys an additional 25, however much it was for that thing. You know what I did? I took that money. And I think I was right. Me and my husband just traveled for the whole year. We just said, you know what? We're going to take this and travel.
Yeah.
But when we were dating, because people don't realize that it does not, and I'm going to say this very bluntly, if you are wanting to be a professor and you have your DMP, congratulations. I'm going to, hats off to you, everyone doing that. So Dr. Viola, hats off to you for having that. Okay. But
no hats off to me. I'm not. Listen, I'm teaching the world. I ain't need this. Okay.
But you still have it.
Okay?
So hats off to you because you still have it. But for the ones that want to have their own business, the ones that are wanting to have this entrepreneurship, y'all, you don't need any fucking degrry.
Right. Not one.
And can I
just
I just want to add this. So one, you're already qualified by virtue. You're already a nurse. Okay.
Yes. Associate's degrees give you the qualification.
Period.
Yes.
Done. Period. But here's the thing, because again, we're going to go back to confidence. I can't remember which one of you mentioned confidence earlier.
Yeah.
But we think that the more, I just needed one more degree. I just need one more certification. I just need one more, thinking that's going to give you the confidence. And again, going back to, and I cannot underpin this enough, that it's the doing of the thing that that brings the confidence.
Come
You
on,
could have,
Sharice.
listen, most of my clients are way out, triple, quadruple out to greet me. And because they think that, again, the degrees, the certifications, all that, it's going to build the confidence. No, it doesn't. You have to be willing to do the doggone thing. And yes, it's going to feel uncomfortable. And yes, you're going to feel like you don't know what you're doing, because you don't. That's it's unfamiliar territory, but you do know what you're doing. That's what I need you guys to remember, is you really do know what you're doing. You've been doing it over here, now you're just doing it over here, but it's the same thing. Same thing.
I think that one part of the problem is that it's business. So you have the clinical education, and so you're at the top of this hill. But what I think what people don't realize is that at the top of this hill is success, and you are never going to grow. So you always have this ceiling, right? Yeah. The ceiling that you will always hit, because you will never work yourself into wealth. That's just what that is, right? No, and so then you have to go back down the hill, and you have to start at ground zero almost, in order to build your business acumen, in order to have your confidence. And so without the business acumen, then you sometimes struggle because you don't know whether you're doing it. And that's, again, where coaching came in. But understanding, like you said, is in the doing. If you don't do the thing, it's never going to. And listen, I had a mentor that popped my bubble right in the middle of my DNP. The child said, this is what she said. I said, I'm going to get me a CNO position. She said, you ain't going to get that position just because you got your doctoral degree. I said, what? So you say what?
She's wait. This is the whole reason why I was doing my DNP.
Right. And so when I got in there and trying to climb the corporate ladder, and everybody else is making decisions, and I'm doing exactly what I need to do, and my numbers are good. I was a readmissions manager. My numbers were at 18%. I pulled the numbers from 12% down to 9% as a readmissions manager. Numbers were phenomenal, but my boss didn't like me. But what she didn't know is that I already had a plan. The Lord knew that she wasn't going to like me. And so it didn't bother me. She used to come over to my office, because I used to work on my business. Well, I probably shouldn't tell this, but I used to work on my business in my office. And so I used to lock my door, and she would run over there to my door, and then she would jangle the door, and then she'd get mad, and she'd go back to her office, and she'd get her key, and then she'd come back, and then she opened the door, and she was like, this door needs to stay open. Lady, that is not what it says in my job description. And every time she come back there, that door be locked.
Wow. It's the audacity. If it's locked, go away.
That's a lot. I think that's also like with business too, right? It's just like people are chasing these degrees and chasing these things. It's also like how people in business now, they chase those $95 this. You got to buy this. I got to buy that. They got to buy that. It's like the shiny object syndrome. Yeah, and it's just, it goes back to that overspending. You were talking about this on our pre-call, was like how you need to look into the things that you're overspending on on certain things. And I think that's also the main thing, is that if you invest in a coach that maybe $15, $20, $30,000 for the year, after all the shit that you buy, you're going to spend just as much, if not more. Because you're not thinking about this in a very complex, like holistic way. You're looking at it a very linear way, that if I can get this for $97, why would I pay $15K here? Because the value of what you're getting is completely different. That's like going to McDonald's and expecting a 5-star Michelin rated meal. Like you can't do that. Like it's completely different.
And most people don't really understand that it's not all those daggone modules that you have. Honestly, most of the time, it's the accountability and it's the knowledge that you have from your coach that's in your coach's head in order for you to be able to successfully succeed, period, point blank, in the story. Because each person's business is going to be different. And as you are moving through your business, you need to have someone who is in your corner, like was it yesterday? Just yesterday, because I believe a coach needs a coach. I'm very firm on that. And so just yesterday, I was in my coach's ear. I was like, listen, I need to help with this particular thing. And she literally delivered right on the dime.
Yeah.
Because you got to have that, right? And you
Yes.
got to have those. And Benny, you were talking about the boundaries, right? Having those boundaries. When I don't record, when I get to Florida, I'm gonna be recording a lot, okay? Because it's warm down there, okay? I ain't recording in the cold, okay? I'm not gonna do it. All right.
I told you, if it's less than my age, you won't see me show up.
Exactly. I'm with you on that.
If it's less than my age, I'm not coming. So
Yeah.
anything that's negative, that's minus 41 degrees, like I promise you, I will not be there.
And you know what? The other thing, just to, again, one of your points, I can't remember who said it, is that another benefit of having a coach, again, because it is not linear. You have someone who has context, right? They've been there. I was Dr. Valley, you said you've been there. They've been there. They've done that, and they can show you the way. What I have seen time and time again, being you were talking about $90 here, whatever. It's like the investing in the other pieces. You're always going to invest in your business, but what I find a lot of times is that people are putting the cart before the horse, and they're getting this piece done before this. Wait. There are certain things that actually make, like branding, your messaging. Please, for the love of all things, don't go and graphics and all this if you haven't landed your niche, if you haven't landed your positioning, what the hell? Like, you need it eventually, but not now. Again, putting the cart before the horse. So there's definitely certain things that need to be done sequentially. And again, I see people getting things, and don't, please God, oh my God, I've had people like, oh, I'm running ads. To whom?
Who?
For what? And they can't answer the question. I'm like, please, you're spending thousands of dollars. For and what? That's why you're not seeing a return on investment. Because it's the cart before the horse.
Yeah. You put the cart before the horse. Same thing with like websites for me. For me, it's also like websites. People are like, I have this amazing, I need to get my website down. I'm like, but who are you talking to?
Who's over there? Yeah. And who's over there? Anybody over there?
I'm like, who are you talking to? Do you even know what an SEO is? They go, no. I go, so you're legit spending all this money, but you don't know how to properly like invest in a proper like SEO content, making sure that's in Google, making sure it's actually in ChatGPT now. You're not doing the back framework. And when you're on there, it's just about who you talking to. Again, it always goes back to who's your audience, what's your offer. It looks great, but if you have green and purple here and then you got orange and black somewhere else, that's what I'm talking about with branding. It's part of the brand. Like, you got to know what resonates with you and what your solid colors or whatever you want to do out, because it's always going back to who you talking to and where your audience is.
Like you said, even if the colors are together, I'm sorry, Dr. Valley, I just want to add this really quickly. Even if your colors are together, again, it goes back to your messaging, your positioning.
100%.
Because otherwise it doesn't matter. You just have a really pretty website that ain't doing nothing but just sitting there being pretty. It's not attracting people to it. And even if people are somehow, some way finding it, when they land on it, they can't connect with it because, again, you're not clear on your messaging. It goes back to clarity, really. Clarity on all 100%. Things. Your niche, your messaging, your positioning, all those things have to be just nailed and solid. Otherwise, again, you just have a really pretty, expensive website and the colors look good, but it's not going to convert. But it's not going to convert.
Too is that I think people are selling to people who are poor, right? You hang out with people who are poor all the time, and then you sell to people who are poor. You can't be selling to poor people. You got to sell to people who can pay you, right?
Yeah.
And the reality is that all day long, I cannot say this enough. There is 40% of the world's wealth is in the United States of America.
Yeah.
We are a capitalist country. Yeah. There are over 11,000 people who make more than $100 million. Listen to me, okay? You are a nurse. You can provide a package of services to those 100, because they pay for convenience. Okay?
They do. Yeah.
They're paying for that convenience, and you have the ability to help them save their life. It's a whole thing. Yeah. And I think that the problem is that we're thinking about the poor, and we're like, I don't know whether the economy is bad, and I don't know whether I was like, the same amount of money that was circulating 2 years ago is circulating today. Okay. All right.
It's even more.
Exactly. And so at the end of the day, stop thinking about your lowest common denominator. The reality is that we have to think about the fact that if you sell to people who can pay you, then you can have your philanthropic efforts
Right.
to the people that you want to have the. But if you don't, you have a
Right.
fiduciary responsibility to your
Absolutely.
company in order to make money, period.
Yeah.
Right.
If you
Right.
don't make money in your business,
You have a
it's
hobby.
not going to work.
Exactly. And to
Oh,
your
wait, you
point,
have a
Dr.
hobby.
Vio,
If you don't
right.
make money, you have a hobby.
That's it. A
Right.
very expensive hobby at that.
Exactly.
Let's be clear. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
And I think as nurses, again, I think it's important that we separate the two. Yes, we have, yes, we want to do so much good in the world, which we will, and we do. That number one, but you have a business and then you have your philanthropic arm, but build your business to a point where you can afford to have a philanthropic arm. And they're not the same thing. I had a conversation with a doctor. This was, I don't know, 3-4 years, about 4 years ago. And she was like, but I just want to do it. And I just want to help people. And I just want to charge. I said, so you don't want a business. Okay. So let's just say you want a charity, and that's okay but let's be clear on what we're talking about. Let's not conflate the two. No, let's not conflate the two. We have a business and we can have a charity or a philanthropic endeavors. Cool. But they're not the same. They're not the same. And she was like, I feel bad trying to sell my program to them. I said, you're not supposed to be trying to sell your program to them. On that side, that's where we have to split the line. You have a business and you have a charity. And please don't try to do both at the same time, because you're going to drive yourself crazy. It takes enough energy and time and effort to build a sustainable business by itself, alone by itself. So don't be trying to do both at the same time, because you don't have the capacity.
I think that's
right
what a lot
now,
of people mess
right
up
now.
too, is that they have multiple offers. People have all these multiple offers and they want to do X, Y, and Z. And I tell people, one offer, one problem.
That's it.
One offer,
That's it.
one problem.
Simple.
One offer, one problem.
That's it.
And do that for 1 year. Do that for
One
a year.
offer, one problem, one sales vehicle,
One
and-
movie.
and
that's literally a program
one
that I've had
platform.
forever.
And one platform.
Yeah.
And that's the other one. It's the one platform as well. Learn one platform. If you're on Facebook, learn it. If you're on Instagram, learn it. If you're on LinkedIn, learn it.
Right.
Because I think what happens is that all three of those have way different algorithms. So a lot of the times it's not going to work. Like what works on Instagram does not work on Facebook. And what works on Instagram 110% does not work on LinkedIn. So if majority of your client, it goes back to knowing your client acquisitions. You need to know where your clients are. I had an amazing conversation. I don't know if you guys know a gentleman named George Bryant. He's an amazing guy. I need to introduce you guys. I need to introduce you both, all three of you guys, to George Bryant. He's an amazing soul. And he gave me this analogy because he's a really good marketer. Again, just a high school degree, I believe. George, if I butcher this, love you still. Okay. Just because and he gave me this really good analogy about marketing. It's if you're going to Central Park, and I say this on a lot of my sales calls, a lot of my calls. If you're in Central Park and you want to sell donuts, and you're thinking like, I'm going to go to Central Park and I'm going to sell all the donuts I want in the world. But you go to Central Park and you don't sell shit. You don't sell anything. And you're like getting frustrated. You get mad. You comes in and you're thinking, we're in Central Park. Everyone should want to buy a donut. And I always have to explain to people is that they might be in Central Park for their own personal reasons. Like they might be doing something else that they don't want the donut for. But maybe you move your donut shop down the street outside Central Park near a family residential area. Boom, you've sold all your donuts out. Because it's always about where your clients are.
Right.
Just because you think that this is I'm going to quote unquote rich area, right? I'm going to sell everything. But in reality, it's not that. You have to be the beacon of your own light.
Absolutely. It's so funny, Bina. This is so timely because I literally I did this whole training with my group coaching clients literally earlier this week. And I use the analogy. I love the Central Park analogy, but I use the analogy. If you are let's just start here. One of the easiest ways to build your business is to go where your clients already are in abundance.
Yes.
And so the analogy that I used was, let's say you grow peaches. That's your thing. You grow peaches. And then you go and you set up a peach stand in the middle of a field where nobody is. and you're wondering why you're not selling peaches. And now you're like, maybe my peaches aren't good, or maybe I'm not good, or maybe no one wants peaches. All that starts happening, right? Maybe this was the wrong time to sell peaches. No, you're not where your clients are. Take those same peaches and go to a farmer's market. People are at the farmer's market. What are they looking for? Fresh produce. What do you have? Fresh produce. You've got peaches. So it's the same thing. Go to where your clients or your patients already are in abundance. They're there anyway.
There's one more thing. This analogy I just used on a workshop, okay? And I want to state this because it makes it really, you can't be any more clear than this along with your peaches scenario. I ask people, say if you want to teach surfing, you want to teach surfing, and you're in the desert looking for clients, you're going to be the road runner running around with your head tail and just spinning around in circles because you're not finding any clients there. Or you will, maybe the one or two that you might get, one or two that really wants to learn how to surf in the desert somehow.
I don't know how, but yeah. Sand surfing,
if you go near the beach, and even say all three of us were at the beach, three of the exact same offer, you're going to sell because now you're only looking for that 100 people. And if you do 100 people at $5K an offer because of your personality, because of what you have to offer, because of what the authenticity of what you're doing, whatever what's 5,000 times 100?
5,000.
That's $500,000. So you need to look for your 100 people at that 5K mark. If you do that and you stick to that, and not worry about what Dr. Viola is doing and what Charisse is doing, and start competing and start going there, and then all that self-doubt comes in, your clients are going to show up because the referrals are going to go, the people are going to talk to you more, or they're just going to sit and watch you and be like, is she going to survive? Maybe she'll be here. Is she going to be here next week? Is she going to be here in a month? Is she really are her clients going to drown in that ocean? Let me check. I'm going to wait. I'm going to see if they're going to come out hurt.
Yeah.
And the other thing they have to focus on.
Yeah. I was going to say, the other thing too is understand, to get to that 100, you're probably going to have to talk to 300 to 500.
Oh, you're going to be okay with 1,000.
One out of three. Yeah. Going back to your analogy, if you're at the beach and people are going to look for surfing, then again, your people are there. Some of them are ready right now. Some of them are going to need to be in their incubator, and some of them they're like, no, never mind. I changed my mind.
45% that Dr. Viola was saying.
Exactly. So just understand that 300 to 500 people, we're going to get you 100. But don't think you're going to talk to 100 people and all 100 are going to say yes. That's where the disillusionment comes in, and that's where sometimes I feel the frustration comes in, because it's unrealistic expectations, and it has nothing to do with you. That's the other big message I want.
Nothing.
That's what I want everyone who's listening to get. It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with your offer. Your offer is good enough. You're good enough. You are skilled enough. You have enough expertise. It has nothing to do with you. It's numbers. So be okay with talking to the 300 to get the 100, or talking to the 500 to get to the 100. Talk to it now. I don't care. Just listen. If your goal is to get to 100, you keep going until you get to 100. I don't care how many people you have to talk to. But the reality is it's going to be 300 to 500. Yeah.
This one guy that does sales, and he does real estate sales in New York. And one of the things that he said that he does in order to get him, I don't know, he's a millionaire, but I'm not sure exactly what realm. Anyway, but what he said was the 2 C's. He said, I try to connect with 15 people a day. That I give them a compliment and I give that contact information.
Yep.
That's it.
And he said, because people don't like to buy from people they don't know. They like to buy from their friends.
Yep.
Sure. Yeah. That's it. Oh God, that's so good, Dr. Viola. And this is another thing too. I see this so much, is understanding that, or moving from a place of being so transactional to being relational. If you're looking at it just from a transactional perspective, okay, I meet you, I have this, do you want to buy it? That's a transaction. Yeah. And the answer is going to be no. And you're going to get more no's more often than not. But when you look at it from a perspective of, again, okay, compliment, get their contact information, that now you're building a relationship. Now you're nurturing a relationship. And those people, once they are ready, because they may not be ready at the time that you meet them, but once they do, which is fine. And we know this, right? But once they move into that ready right now category, guess what? You're top of mind. You're top of mind. That's why, going back to, this brings it full circle, what I said at the very beginning, the importance of keeping them in an incubator. Keep them in the incubator, because they will become ready at some point.
People will buy transformation. People buy transformation. They don't go from transactional.
Yeah.
And if you're able to show the transformation, if you're able, not necessarily prove it, but to be authentic, like some people are like, I've never coached anybody before. I've never had a paid client.
Which is a lie. Yes, you have.
Or I've never done a B2B. I've never done B2B because
which is, I'm sorry. I'm like with all the ad libs over here. But it's true. No, and I just want to, don't forget where you were going with that.
I don't remember. My ADHD kicked it. That's okay. But my point is, like,
everyone says, I've never coached before. Ma'am, you are a nurse. You've been coaching since day one.
Nursing school. You coached since you walked into nursing school.
Absolutely.
Okay?
This is the same skill, different arena. Yeah. Same skill, different arena. I need you to remember that. You've been coaching since you were in nursing school, even before you got a license.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Bina. Hopefully you can remember what you were saying.
I don't remember, but I was just talking about B2Bs. I was just talking about how a lot of people were like, oh, I can't do B2Bs. That's out of my wheelhouse. Yeah. And I'm just like, why? It's the same. You're still connecting to one person.
One person.
Yeah.
You're not connecting to the entire
organization.
The organization. Yeah. Like you're talking to maybe one or two people from the organization. And you got to build that particular relationship up. Mm-hmm. And I've always said this, and I'm a big believer in this. It all starts from a conversation. Everything starts from a conversation. And if you don't conversate your business, then you have a hobby.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. If you don't talk about your business, you have a hobby. If you don't and I think, again, we all said this multiple times in 10 different ways, it's a numbers game. It is legit a numbers game. You got to visibility, the more the merrier. There is no more outreaching. And guess what? With a lot of when we're talking about corporations, get their numbers. Like, it's okay to call them. I think that's another thing people forget. You can call them and they go, hey, who's this again? I'll be like, oh, hi, I'm Nurse Coach Bina. How's it going? And they go, why are you calling? I said, you know what? I'm going to change your life. That's what I answer. My legit, how I say, I'm about to change your life. Do you have 5 minutes where I can show you why I'm going to change your life? And they'll be like, okay.
That's a good comeback right there. Yeah. I like that. Maybe I'll use them on these sales calls tonight. Once I get off of here. That's good.
It's all about the relatability.
Yeah. And one of the things too, I think that people have to understand that they have to be just nice. So I was in Rome. Did not anticipate this. So I was in Rome. I was speaking in Rome, and there was another speaker there. And she was at the other table, and she was looking like she was highly pissed. Okay. I don't know what was going on, but she looked like she was not happy. But I was like, because I like people. So I was like, are you speaking? Can you come on over here with us? Yeah. And so she came over there with us. And so she sat down and we started talking. And so when I got up to speak, I was emceeing the whole thing. And when I got up to speak, she was like, oh. And so I got a corporate contract from the one person.
Yeah. Because it's relationships.
Right. Because you never know where your clients are going to be.
Right.
No. If you don't conversate, if you're not personable, and if you're just not being your true authentic self. Yeah. I've gotten a client working actually for doing some stuff from like Dreamforce or Salesforce, whichever one you guys comes in. And legit, because she was sitting on the airplane with me, and I'm not going to let anyone. Me and her we were in that row that you get free drinks, not first class, but the one that you just get free drinks. We must have cleaned their champagne out, okay? We were coming from North Carolina over to California, and we must have cleaned them out because I think the flight attendant finally was just like, you two ladies. And they were like, look, we ain't driving. We're grown-ass women. Yeah. Like, you can bring us some more alcohol. We are okay.
Keep it coming.
Like, Keep it coming, I'm pretty sure. And then the funniest part was one of my really good friends was sitting next to me. She says, I'm sober and I'm a nurse. I was like, here's the funniest part is that I'm not sober and I'm still a nurse. And I guarantee you, if this plane's crashing, this shit is sober and you're going to be calling me anyways. Right.
And you bring it
going.
Yeah.
But my point is that I was able to connect with her and I was able to get her number. We had a beautiful time. And kid you not, I was able to go into different places in California here locally. And I was able to just, even though I wasn't able to talk at Salesforce or the Dreamforce, I was able to go as a participant. Not very many people get to do that. And you're able to see things. And that is what people need to do is You never know where your conversations are going to go. And when and going back to what we were talking about in our pre-call, when an opportunity arises, say
because it's showing up for a
yes.
reason. It's showing up for a reason.
It showed up and say yes.
At that time for a reason. Absolutely.
Don't hesitate. You need to just say yes. And this is actually one of my big talks that I'm actually doing again at Nurses Fest in a couple of weeks is show the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like you got to show up. If you say yes to something, you need to show up. Right. Now life is going to lifen. And again, things are going to occur, but the minute excuses come into your head, like you've already lost the sale.
Yeah,
you've already lost it.
Right. Yeah, for sure. And I just want to really shed a light on one thing here, because we're in 2026. We have been talking a lot about building your business online, which is true, right? Yeah. But to your point, Bina, you were talking about you never know where conversations are going to come from. I've gotten some of my best clients in the airport. I've gotten them. I know that's what I'm saying, like right to what you were saying, holistic health coaching clients and business coaching clients, both. Numerous times. And so don't forget, you guys, yes, we, all of us, I think, talk a lot about, because we do build our businesses online, but don't forget real life, not that those aren't real life conversations, but the person sitting next to you on the airplane, the person, I've gotten clients at the park. I've gotten clients at the park, at the soccer field, in the lounge, and I know
meeting these people, because I stay in that daggone airport, and I'm not meeting these people. Now, let me tell you something.
They're
there. Dude, they're everywhere.
I'm gonna have a full-fledged conversation. My husband and my niece are very introverted. Okay. They're like, why is she talking to that person again?
Do you know what happened to me one time? I went to, I like nice shoes. So I went to Ferragamo, and this is like the outlet Ferragamo, not like the depending on.
We're just give a disclaimer.
I don't shop, so I don't even know what you're talking about. Okay, go ahead.
Ferragamo is like a very expensive brand. So I went into Ferragamo and I went into the outlet store because I wanted to get these things because I was doing the TEDx and other stuff. So I was like, I gotta have nice shoes, okay? I go in there and my husband, I walk out. I kid you not. I was talking and they were like, what are you doing? And I was like, I have my TEDx. Again, just word vomiting my business with what we're doing. I straight up walked out with a fucking speaking engagement with Ferragamo. My husband was just like, how in the hell? And my coach, Jamin Patel, my speaking coach at that time, only you would do that. He says, only you would walk out spending $1,000 and walk out with a paid speaking deal. Wow. He goes, why? I said, because I love what I do. And the reason what I talk, my passion is because of my children. Everybody knows my why are my children. And to know more about real life with special kids, having the autism, having that, and that's where 95% of all my talks are. And again, showing up, because if I don't show up for them, this mom is not a good mom. But it's that type of things where it's like, you have to say yes. You got to be able to ask, and you got to be able to just, I've now done this so many times, especially on my speaking side, which I actually don't talk a lot about, this is how I make my speaking opportunities. Is I go there and people are like, hey, can I talk? Viola, I did this with you. Where I was like, hey, I'll show up. I'll talk. I love talking. Put me on stage. I'll talk. Great. Because it's the fun. That is where I shine. It's not, I'm not going places to look for an opportunity. Does that make sense? I'm going places to shine my voice. And I think that's a big difference on why people say yes to me more, is because I'm not going into something going, I'm going to go into Gucci now and do this again. That might not work in Gucci. It might not work in the other places. Yeah. Because that person's not going to be there. It's because you need to be personable.
Yeah. Right. And I was going to say too, I think also having the belief and the expectation that opportunities are everywhere. They are everywhere.
And money is everywhere too.
Everywhere.
Everywhere. Absolutely. It is abundant.
It is indeed. And Bina, you talked about, right. Yeah. And Bina, you talked about your coach, like who does this? Only Bina, because you leaned into something that you love and something that you enjoy. And so for those listening, you might be thinking like, oh my God, I don't want to speak. Okay. That's not the point. The point is, what do you love to do? And then do it and share what you do because you genuinely love what you do. And then watch how many more opportunities avail themselves because you were willing to just share what it is that you do because you love to do it.
Right? Yeah. And this is the thing. There's this guy. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
There's this guy that's online. He has these russet potatoes. He writes this nice little note on the russet potato. He's been featured on Shark Tank. He's gotten to 6 figures with these russet potatoes, with these little nice notes that he sends to these people. Okay.
He sends potatoes in the mail?
Potatoes in the mail.
Listen, so what should he just
got a whole degree that you can't say that.
He just writes on the potatoes. But
oh
look,
my God.
But that's my point. You know why? You know why that works? It's because 1, it's a unique idea. Yeah. And 2, whatever somebody comes, when they open up that package, whatever he writes on that potato made their day.
Yeah. And he loves to do it, apparently, because he wouldn't be doing it.
But I don't know who did that, but he's freaking genius. That's genius.
If he believes in himself like that, you need to believe in yourself.
Right. With them stinky potatoes. I can imagine, but yes, you're absolutely right.
And if you go to the website, like there's 230 reviews on this one potato. Like 230 folks that bought this potato. What is going on?
But I think it's because it goes back to his passion. Whatever it was, and whatever it is, it's the belief behind it. It's the belief behind this is going to be successful. It's the belief behind that I'm going to do this no matter what. It's going to work. And when you talk about the no matter what, I'm not saying break your 401k. I'm not saying break your stocks. I'm not stating that. All I'm stating is that no matter what means that you're going to get in front of people that are going to listen. And you're going to keep going until somebody tells you yes.
And you better believe Mr. Potato Guy had tons of naysayers thinking, because I don't know his name, so no disrespect, I just don't know his name. But you got to know that not everybody, but a large percentage of people who knew him probably told him, dude, that's a dumb idea. Dude, that's not going to work. Dude, that's not going to sell. Dude, and they gave him all the reasons why it wasn't a good idea. Because how many people would really be like, you know what? That potato idea, go for it. Probably not, but it doesn't matter because the vision was given to him. The idea was given to him, just like the idea and the vision was given to you. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if anyone else thinks it's a good idea or believes in it. They're not supposed to. It's yours.
You know who else did that? Talking about potatoes, do you know what other potato got denied multiple times? Mr. Potato Head.
Oh,
Mr.
Really?
Potato Head. The toy was like, they were like, why would we, who's going to buy a potato and put those different, bigger. It's one of the best. It's one of the best all-time classic. Like, they're expensive now, okay? Because I try to buy a Mr. Potato Head for one of my kids now, and they're expensive nowadays. But my point is that you just don't know what your creativity is going to come. And again, I think it goes back down to when you have an idea and you have the power and the belief behind it, it's going to be successful. I think that's where it comes down to. No, you're going to get your no's, because I want to wrap this particular, because we can talk about this particular topic for a while, is the number one thing I've heard all of us say as a little tribute, and I'm going to have everybody else chime in on this, is that you're going to get no's. Mm-hmm. Follow your passion. If you have a true passion, money will follow. It will 110% follow. When I coach or when I teach or what I do is I always go for a global impact. I coach in a very different, I coach in a very different way. And I go for a global impact. And that global impact, then you need to be able to just be able to go talk to people. Visibility and what you want to do is key. If you're silence, you're not going to go anywhere. It all starts with a conversation. And you got to know, when we're all talking about, you have to know the clarity. You need to know who your audience is. But the number one thing is you got to have your voice. Because if you don't have your voice, your business is still a hobby. So go ahead. When we're talking about last words, go ahead, Viola.
And I think that one of the things that, as I think back on my own journey, when you talk about passion, it's important for you to have that passion for it, because my passion has always been to help nurses. It's always, it was just one of those things that was ingrained in me. And I remember not last year, but the year before last, I had 6 months. We couldn't figure out what was going on. It's crazy. Sales were down, webinars. We didn't have a whole lot of people on the webinars. And it was a glitch in the system that I didn't realize. But once I figured out what that glitch was, then we started getting people in, and we closed $250,000 at our live event. But the reality is that had I not kept on that boat, then we wouldn't have been here. You know what I'm saying?
You didn't fall into the trap of, oh my God, this is not working. I don't know what's working, so I'm gonna go back to and then I'm gonna go back to my comfort or whatever it is. You kept at it.
And that passion, when you're thinking about, if I don't serve them, then who is gonna serve them? And for me too, it was the pain of going back to where I was, because I sure didn't want to do that. Okay. I didn't want to go back to that little lady trying to open my door. Okay. All right. I just don't want to do that. Yeah. So you just got to realize that if you keep going, you're going to win. Period, point blank in the story.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. My closing thoughts are, again, going back to confidence. You have to, confidence comes by doing. There's no way around it. You can't buy it. You can't go around it. You have to go through it. That's the only way to do the doggone thing, right? So have confidence in your ability to do what it is that you're wanting to do. And with that confidence is going to lead to conversations. The more conversations you can have, the more clients you will get. There's a direct correlation between number of conversations or consults, however you want to call it, but they're all conversations. So there's a direct correlation to the number of direct correlation between the number of conversations you have with the number of clients that you convert. Period. Let's just do the math, right? So if you're wanting more clients, have more conversations. That is probably the linchpin. That is the linchpin that holds it all together. When I talk to people that they're saying they're struggling with clients, I ask them, how many conversations did you have this week? One. Okay, there's a problem.
There's your problem.
There's a problem. Guess what? And also understanding that you are the problem, but you are also the solution. Period.
That's 100%. And it's the fat thing. I don't know if you guys know this, but I can't trademark my name because you can't trademark name unless you're Blue Ivy. But I have the Bina method, which is legit be in now action. Because if you're not in be in now action, then you're not having these conversations. You're not having the courage. You're not being consistent. You're not being authentic. And I think we're saying the same thing over and over again. And I want people to hear this. It is not difficult. That you making it difficult. If you have conversations, you will get clients. That's it. That's it.
Period.
That's it. There's nothing else. So when people come to us, and we're all business owners, if people come to us and go, hey, I want to make a 10K month, right? I said, great. That's not hard. And they go, yeah, it is. I said, 10K. So that means you need 4 clients or 5 clients. One, I'm just breaking it down a little more at 2,500. At 2,500. Okay. Yeah.
That's you can sell that from the stage and get that all day long. At the end of the day, you ain't even got to do a sales call.
You for real.
But that's why I even broke it down. I want people to realize like the numbers matter. So if you do 4 clients at 2,500, that's 10K month. Now, a lot of times people are like, well, I can't get that 2,500. That means for those 4 paid clients, guess what? You might have to talk to 400 people.
Of the right people.
Of the correct people. Correct.
Because again, going back to that philanthropic,
but you don't know what your audience is.
Or unemployed.
If you're surfing and you're going to the desert, like you're.
But the numbers say if you're talking to the right people, there's only 40 people that you got to talk to, because you only have to close 10%.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that at the end of the day,
it's that easy. It's that easy. So, point that we're all making at the end of this one: don't overcomplicate things. For you guys, make it easy. It has to be with ease and flow. And I hear Charisse and Dr. Viola and Emily say this all the time. The 4 of us have said the same statement over and over again. It needs to go with ease and flow.
Absolutely.
If you are not having conversations, if you are not talking about your passion or your business or your global impact, whichever one, any wording language you want to talk about that, you really need to talk. Just start talking. Be like Dory. Just start talking.
And you'll be surprised at some of the words that come out of your mouth. And again, that starts to bolster your confidence. Going back to confidence. Because I think that's a lot of reasons why a lot of people just don't do, because they don't have the confidence in it. But again, it's because you haven't put in the reps.
Right.
You haven't, But when you start doing you start doing the reps, the natural byproduct of that is confidence. So start putting in the reps. Start having the conversations. And don't even get tied to, here's the other thing too, because I think that, I know we could go on forever, but I think we get so tied to the yes. Yeah. And then but I want you to be so committed to running the reps. Yeah. Be committed to that, because you're going to get the yeses and the nos if you just commit to doing the reps.
But you got to practice. You got to practice and practice and practice and reach out. All right, ladies, this episode did turn out to be a little longer than anticipated, but this is the topics that we're talking about. These are the topics that we want to continue having. And we will have obviously some more controversial topics, because sometimes we just don't know what's going to come out of the nurse's view. So with that being said, thank you, everyone. We'll have all of our information on the bottom. Just watch for it below, and we'll see you guys all next time. Have a good one.